Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Moline, Illinois and the Green Valley Sports Complex here for the ISC 2016 World Tournament. We are getting deep into the nitty-gritty now. Kris Abbott and Blair Setford with you for a game that is a mere 90 minutes behind schedule. The A1 Bombers from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, wearing the black tops and white pants. And the New York Gremlins are wearing their all whites and will be the home team in this game. Blair, we just saw what has to be considered an upset. The BCAs eliminating the Scarborough Force. Do the A1 Bombers have an upset for us in the next game?
Well, these two teams met a couple of weeks ago in the final of the ASA USA Softball National Championship, and the Gremlins cruised to a pretty easy victory as the Bombers were a well-worn and beaten squad on that day. But I got to think they've got a little bit of momentum on their side as the Bombers come in having already won a big game today. And for the A1 squad, they've got Jorge Segura on the board. Get the mouth working, Blair. Jorge Segura on the mound and Ramon Godoy for the Gremlins. So not quite who you might expect if you've been following these couple of teams for the past couple of years.
Both pitchers have had great numbers through the tournament. We'll get to it in a little bit. But let's look at first the lineup for the A1 Bombers. It's exactly the same as the one we saw here 2 hours ago. Chris Walushka leads off in center. Derek Kennedy at third. Freddie Carmona, who went 1 for 3 this morning, is batting third. Marshall Cronk, the designated player, is in the cleanup hole. Tyler Dudley, the second baseman. Scott Nehigh, the right fielder, with the difference maker, a 2-run shot in this morning's game. Mike Hoadley's at first. Mingo Varela is in left field, and Gil Sands is at short. For the New York Gremlins around the outfield, in left it is Matthew Waugh. In center field, Jeff Goolagong. In right is Zenon Winters. Third baseman is Brian Avery. The shortstop is Nick Mullins. Ladislao Malarzouk is at second. Matt Palazzo from just down the road in Des Moines is at first. Rafael Flores is catching, and Roman Godoy is on the mound, and he sports a 2-0 record coming into this game, Blair. 0 earned runs given up, 14.1 innings pitched, 2 hits in those 14 innings along with 16 strikeouts.
Ramon Godoy came on in relief last night in the Gremlins-Gators game, and I'll tell you what, a bunch of our batters came back to the dugout just mumbling under their breath. This kid is throwing gas, and he can bring it. They had him on the radar gun last night at about 83 miles an hour. We'll see what he's got in the tank this afternoon. He went the latter 4 innings in the game last night.
And Blair, Godoy is one of these guys from Argentina who just a couple of weeks ago were knocked off their perch on top of the junior world, but he's now playing senior men's ball and doing very well. And a hard drop ball is going to be strike one on the leadoff batter, Chris Walushka.
Well, it took the Bombers a bit to find their groove. Walushka scored in the first, but it really wasn't until the 6th inning that they finally woke up the bats against Circle Tap.
Change-up is drilled past Mullins at short, and Walushka, as he did in the first game, now he's going to try and make it for second, catches Goolagong sleeping, and Chris Walushka We'll call it a double because it's a mental error on Jeff Goolagong.
Well, Jeff Goolagong went to Nick Mullins, who was out about 10 feet away from the bag, and seeing that that was going to be the play, Walushka, who had a big turnaround first, and that is heads-up base running by Kris. Great job.
Brings up Derek Kennedy, the third baseman. He's batting $125 in the World Tournament. No need to bunt the runner over here because anything through the infield will score the speedy center fielder. The New York Gremlins already on their heels, and we just saw it in the last game, a team with a warm-up game in the morning, quote-unquote, in this scorching heat, call it a little more than a warm-up, came out swinging, ready to go, and catching the team that maybe slept in this morning on their heels.
Well, we've seen that time and again on Saturday over the last few years, as the team that plays in the 3-4 game often catches the team that's been waiting in the losers bracket final by surprise. We just saw it with BCA's upsetting the Scarborough Force. Do we have another one here with A1 Bombers and New York Gremlins?
Kennedy squares the bunt, pulls back as the rise ball shot up out of the zone.
Godoy's got great movement on his pitches, and it moves very late, especially when you throw that hard. That is an exemplary notion there for pitching, getting that rise ball to pop out of the zone real late in the delivery.
Kris Walushka on second with a leadoff double. Kennedy pops up the bunt out of the reach of the first baseman, Matt Palazzo. So they did try and move him down, manufacture something here in the first inning. It's now going to be a 1-2 count to Kennedy. Nobody out in the top of the first inning. If you're just tuning in thinking this is the 4 o'clock game, well, it is. But a long one beforehand, Ramon Jones and his long walks playing a part of it. But Ramon Jones and the BCAs have moved on to Saturday for the first time in franchise history.
Well, it's good to see some new blood moving into that championship position and an opportunity to get to the upper echelons within the ISC. They've been knocking on the door for a few years, have that California A's, now BCA's team.
2-2 pitch. Here's a chopper to the right side. He'll get the job done, move the runner over, and with one down, Freddie Carmona will step to the plate.
Heads-up play there by Matt Palazzo. Rather than turn your back on the play and go back to first base, he kept the ball in the glove and just came right towards Derek Kennedy to make the tag. If Walushka had any notion of turning the corner, Palazzo had an eye on him.
Freddie Carmona was 1 for 3 this morning against Circle Tap. Takes an inside drop ball, and he's batting .375 on the tournament. Carmona has done all the catching here for the A1 Bombers, and you know that takes a toll. It's tough. You guys do it with the Gators as well. You have your catcher batting in the middle of the lineup. And Carmona shoots this to right field. Will it be enough to score? Walushka, he gets past the catcher as the throw is up the line. He gets the plate. Now Flores is going to ask for an appeal.
No, it's interference at the plate, as Flores did not give any room to Walushka. They go to third on the appeal. So Walushka is safe on the play, as Flores was blocking the plate before he had the ball. And Kevin Wallace, I believe that's Kevin Wallace on the dish, is it not? Paul Squires had interference at the plate, and that means that run was going to score automatically.
Well, Flores, I don't think it was intentional. He was chasing the ball up the line. The throw from Zen Winters took him about 10 feet up the baseline, and I don't know, but he may have even made contact with Kris Walushka. But just like you want to do as the visiting team, getting on the board in the top of the first are the A1 Bombers. And again, much like he did in the earlier game, Kris Walushka using his speed to manufacture that run.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that would try to score on that play. A line drive out to right, and it was a good throw. It just tailed up the line a little bit, but until Flores has the ball in his possession, he cannot block the line.
1-1 the count on Marshall Cronk, whose big contribution this morning was actually a sack bunt that led to the 3-run inning, breaking it open for the A1 Bombers. That's going to be a strike low in the zone. Kronk raises his head in disbelief, and he's now in a count 1-2.
Well, you see, Chris, in this sequence here, how every little base matters, because if Walushka doesn't get up to second base on that hustling opening play, he doesn't move over to third on the ground ball to Palazzo, and then, of course, then he doesn't score on that line drive. But speed kills, and it's certainly a big, big factor in that game's opening run.
Speed definitely kills, Blair. It killed my career.
The lack thereof.
2-2 count, one away. Check that, two away. Marshall Kronk swings through, and he will go down on strikes. 4 men to the plate, 1 run for the A1 Bombers. They've jumped out in front of the number 3 ranked team in the world, the New York Gremlins, who are coming up after this.
If a man runs for president, interviews for a high-level job, or needs a good table at a smart restaurant, chances are he'll be wearing a suit. Mr. Ned is your custom tailor in New York City. Located at 137 Fifth Avenue, we provide our clients with the highest quality custom suits at affordable pricing. Our range of fabrics is second to none and will fit the needs of any well-dressed professional. Whether it be everyday business attire or a special occasion, we have the ability to make you a man of distinction. Visit the store at 137 Fifth Avenue in New York or see us online at MrNedNYC.com. We thank Mr. Ned and Varn Matosian for generously supporting the broadcast program.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com. Thanks to Jose and Peligro Sports for their support of the broadcast program.
So Blair, it will be the New York Gremlins coming up. Let's look at their lineup. It stayed the same for most of the week as well. Matthew Waugh leads off. Ladislao Malarzouk is second. Blair Ezigal, the designated player, bats third, and he's batting .300. Matt Palazzo is the cleanup hitter. Rafael Flores, Zenon Winters, Jeff Goolagong, who's 0 for 9. Brian Avery and Nick Mullins batting ninth. And on the mound for the A1 Bombers is Jorge Segura. And would you say this is the biggest start of this young man's career today?
Well, without a doubt, certainly in ISC play, the young man from Guatemala gets an opportunity to propel his team into championship Saturday as well. The Bombers finished third last year. They made it to the winners bracket final last year. Were knocked off by Hill United, and then were beaten by the Toronto Gators in the game to go, I guess what you would effectively call the bronze medal game, the game to go to the championship game. And that, again, there's an example of the Gators team played the morning game, won that, brought that momentum right into the game with the Bombers, and even though it was a come-from-behind win, Toronto advancing to the final.
Matthew Waugh leads off for the New York Gremlins, one of the best all-around players in the entire world.
Well, certainly one of the most cerebral players in the game as well. Matthew will analyze every pitch, every detail. He has a game plan when he goes up to the plate. He will remember, and I'm sure he consulted his notebook for his at-bats against Jorge Segura when Canada played Guatemala last year up in Saskatoon. So Matthew will be up there with a game plan. Keeps a notebook on every single at-bat.
He's in a hole 0-2 and does not agree with that strike 2 call. Kicks the dirt in disgust. Now steps back to, well, I was going to say steps back to gather himself, but he's going to keep chirping.
That's very unlike Matthew Waugh. You really rarely see Matthew lose his cool at the plate like that.
Well, you know, Blair, I think that may speak to the pressure that is on the New York Gremlins squad right now. After losing in the winners bracket last night to the Toronto Gators, they are now out of options for losses. They have to win out. 1-2 is the count on Waugh, the leadoff hitter for the New York Gremlins. Ball 2, and if we look at the defensive alignment for the A1 Bombers, it's the same lineup we saw this morning. Mingo Varela in left field, Kris Walushka in center, Scott Nehigh in right, Derek Kennedy's at third base, Gil Sands at short, Tyler Dudley at second, Mike Hoadley at first, and Freddie Carmona behind the plate. 2-2 pitch. And that is a ball, and Matt Dubois may have got his point across to today's home plate umpire, Paul Squires.
Yeah, Paul Squires, John Hand out at first base, Steve Gallagher at third for this afternoon's game.
And Blair, I don't want to put the hex on John Hand, but I've had the pleasure of seeing a lot of games he's umpired this week, and be it on the plate or on the bags, John Hand has done a remarkable job.
He's been receiving a lot of kudos here this week. I know Sean Cleary had some real good words to say about John Hand, who just by fluke of the schedule ended up on the plate for 2 of the Gators games earlier in the week. Very consistent, and really that's all you can ask for. It's all you want as a player, as both a batter and as a pitcher and catcher. Just call the same pitch consistently all game long.
So Waugh, after falling down 0-2 in this count, has worked his way back to a full count. Fouled off the first full count pitch. And draws a walk on a drop ball that was either outside or low. And that's what Jorge Segura is trying to figure out right now.
Well, with a 1-0 lead, Jorge Segura has got to limit the base runners and the scoring opportunities for the Gremlins. His team did him a favor. They scored early. Now, you can't just turn around and give one right back. There's nothing more deflating for a team than getting a lead and seeing your pitcher give it right away.
Waugh on first is a base-stealing threat. Check swing. They're going to say he did go. Third base umpire Steve Gallagher.
I'd agree with that. I thought he had offered at that.
Gallagher's from Cobourg, Ontario, out there on the bases today. So first pitch strike from Segura.
You got to be careful with Mal Zook. He will run up through the box and try to slap the ball out at the shortstop. Of course, we've seen Gil Sens performing some miracles out there all week.
Sens is playing deep, and that slapped right past Kennedy, who was drawn in, respecting the bunt. And just like that, the Gremlins have runners on first and second with nobody out. So for fans who are wondering where Devin McCullough might be for the A1 Bombers, he started this morning, and Blair, during that broadcast, you and I had the debate about what the Bombers do for the afternoon game.
Well, I think this is the sensible thing for the Bombers to do. Devin McCullough threw a lot of pitches in that game and left it all out on the mound. And to try and come back with only 2 hours rest and repeat it again with the humidity and the heat here this week, I think would be asking too much. He might have an inning or two in him in relief if absolutely necessary to try and close out a game, but I can't imagine he's got much more than that in the tank.
Blair Ezekiel at the plate, and he takes strike one, a drop ball from Segura. Blair certainly one of the, well, he's a veteran now. He's into his mid-30s. And he's been around the circuit for a long time.
I can remember in 2005, I think, or maybe it was 2004, Blair Ezekiel playing with the Bar of Appleton team in ISC 2, and he certainly didn't last very long there. Was right up to the ISC level and has been a star here ever since.
1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out to Ezekiel, who's got a home run and 3 RBI so far at the 2016 World Tournament. Low inside, and I think it might have hit him.
I think Blair Ezekiel was trying to sell that, and Matt Palazzo's down there trying to help him sell that. He was willing to take the bat from Blair, and indeed he is going to get first base.
And knowing Blair, he might have wanted to stay in there with that first and second nobody out opportunity. But now the captain, Matt Palazzo, is going to come in with bases loaded. and nobody out.
Well, this is not the start you wanted for the A1 Bombers if you're a fan. Jorge Segura loading the bases, nobody out. You got a leadoff walk, a single, and now a hit by pitch. And that 1-0 lead in danger of evaporating just like that.
Palazzo batting .273. A home run and 2 RBIs for Matt. He's going to be a little disappointed with that output to date, but he has an opportunity here to shake those numbers up in a big way. First pitch, he offers that in the dirt for strike 1. And you can see on the right side of your screen, Devin McCullough is making his way down to the bullpen here in the bottom half of the first inning.
Well, that will not be what the A1 Bombers coaching staff wanted to do, but you can't let this game get away from you.
Palazzo digging out, playing at the beach there. Touches the plate and he's ready to go. This is a drop ball, but it's off the plate. Segura felt like he should have got that call, but from our vantage point, it looked definitely a ball.
Well, Paul Squires is another one of those umpires with a tight zone. And if you're relying on balls that are off the plate to be called strikes, you're not going to get it with Paul Squires.
Palazzo swinging a drive, but foul well out off the main diamond here at the Green Valley Sports Complex, home of the 2016 ISC World Tournament. And next year, Blair, Grand Rapids will host for the very first time in Michigan.
Yeah, the Art Van Complex, which is relatively new, 3-4 years old. They've got 2 quads there, and we're certainly looking forward to getting to see the Grand Rapids facility for the very first time.
Time called now. Segura and Carmona want to get together and make sure they have the approach, and a strikeout really needed here now. Bases loaded, nobody out. 2 strikes on Palazzo.
Palazzo's a 2-time male Fastpitch Player of the Year for USA Softball, recognizing the top player in the national team program in the U.S.
And he swings through that rise ball on the outside corner. First down, Palazzo lamenting as his at-bat. Rafael Flores comes in batting .364.
Very dangerous hitter. He's got plenty of pop, and he actually runs very, very well for a man his size. You'd be surprised if he gets the motor going. He can get around the bases pretty quick.
First pitch swinging for a strike to one of the 6 prawn players listed for the New York Gremlins.
Yeah, made prawn last year, as did a couple of the other Gremlins. Jeff Goolagong, Blair Ezekiel has been a prawn in the past and would count towards that list. Matthew Waugh. Nick Mullins was named to the All-World team last year. Andrew Kirkpatrick.
We saw Kirkpatrick start against the Gators last night, and he got touched up via the long ball. Ryan Boland and Brad Rona with one of the top 3 home runs in distance in the event. I think maybe Josh Johnson still might have the record.
Brad Rona was up there bunting, couldn't get the bunt down. We were pretty happy that he didn't.
2-run blast deep into the Moline night. Flores chops at it. It's foul. Carmona was trying to get to it in front of the plate. But Segura now well ahead of the hitter Flores.
Well, he seems to have found the range as we're into now the 5th batter of the inning. He didn't really look comfortable out there on the board, and I didn't think that he was really commanding all of his pitches. But starting with the Palazzo at bat and now here on to Flores, he seems to have dialed in that drop ball at the very least, and the rise ball that he threw to Palazzo was a real good one.
The 0-2 count to Rafael Flores. Oh, Flores with some great restraint holding back. He wanted to swing at that pitch.
Yeah, wanted to go after that outside dipper. They took that off the plate, tried to get Flores to chase, and very nearly got him.
Veteran left-handed hitter Zenon Winters is on deck. Flores to third, foul. As Kennedy watches that skip by down the line, Mingo Varela will head out looking for it. Actually bounced over the fence on the left field line.
There are so many good hitters in this Gremlins lineup. You can't afford to take an at-bat off or even an at-pitch off because you will get hurt.
One down, bases are full. Jorge Segura and the A1 Bombers trying to get out of this jam. Rise ball gets Flores swinging. Two down, and Jorge Segura is 2/3 of the way home. The third one always the toughest.
And Zenon Winters is just a tough out. He always makes contact, seems to get the ball into play. He can slap the ball through the left side. He can pull it to the right side. He can hit it out to center field with pop. So many weapons for this guy at the plate. So strong.
Just one RBI so far in the tournament for Winters. He's got a chance, much like the last two batters, to change that number. Jorge Segura on the mound, looking to shut it down. Drop ball is outside on Winters for ball one. The A1 Bombers scored in the first inning. Kris with a leadoff double, moved to third on a ground ball and scored on a Freddie Carmona sac fly. That's all the scoring so far. And then the New York Gremlins loaded the bases with nobody out. Jorge Segura has struck out the last two batters and is now working on Zenon Winters. Now,
Greg Leather wants a balk called, saying he started his motion, then he stepped off. To me, all I saw was Segura came to the board. He was at his pause, and at that point you can still step off. It's if you start to go forward and then break the motion, then you've balked. Greg, I think, a little over anxious there on the call.
Greg Leather has a command of the rule book that nobody else here does, I'll tell you that much. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. He's been very creative with his lineups and with the things he's pointed out.
Well, he's already made this case, and I don't know why Paul Squires is giving him an audience here. He's already made the case once. They've turned it down, and he's getting them together at the very least to get this call. But unless John Hand has seen something that the other two didn't, then I don't think we're going to get this balk called.
And wouldn't they call it right away if they saw it? This doesn't seem like a thing to me where you get together and then make the call.
Well, yeah, because a balk is not limited to the home plate umpire calling it. John Hand can call it if he saw it.
And could this maybe be something to get Segura maybe just a little bit out of his rhythm here?
So just a little bit of education for us. The balk is actually the baseball term. It's whether or not it's just an illegal pitch. But I didn't see anything that would make that into the category of the illegal pitch. Thanks to Bruce Bierman, who is standing behind us, our umpire-in-chief.
1 ball is the count. Swing and a miss. Goolagong took a rip on the outside part of the plate. And it looks like that one bounced up, caught Freddie Carmona in a sensitive area.
Yeah, that took a bite out of Freddie, and Zenon Winters, who has done some catching, gives Carmona a tap on the back. Zenon, I'm sure, has been there in the past.
So Freddie Carmona will take a quick walk, and he'll get the requisite glass of water from Al Martin from the dugout.
I've never seen so many glasses of water delivered over the course of a game in my life. We had Ramon Jones getting drive-by catering service in the last game.
It's almost like the Boston Marathon where you're running by the water stations. But in fairness, it's super hot out here. Carmona under all that catcher's gear, and he has been all week.
Yeah,
so
we definitely want to look after the athletes here, make sure nobody gets dehydrated, and when you get one in a soft spot like that, that's never a good situation.
So the other side about that illegal pitch, in the ISF play or WBSC, runners may well advance, but in the ISC, runners do not advance on an illegal pitch. Just a ball. That's outside, and Carmona thought about gunning it down to Kennedy. Always a risky play with 2 out.
Well, we saw that play the other night with they faked to first and then they threw down to third. And they caught Andy Skelton napping on a ground ball where Andy came around third a step too far.
2-1 count, 2 down. Fouled off, 2-2. So Jorge Segura is so close to getting out of this jam. Tense times on the A1 Bombers bench for sure. Devin McCullough continues to warm up down the line as Segura's thrown at least 25 or more pitches here in the inning. Winters holds up on the rise ball out of the zone.
Well, you got nowhere to put him now. You're going to have to come after him, and this could be the turning point of the game right here, the bottom of the first inning. Bases loaded.
Runners will be on the move. Carmona calls time. Now you've seen Segura a little more than I have. Blair, what's going to be his go-to right now, do you figure?
Well, his best pitch is his drop ball, but he has zinged in a couple of rise balls that have had guys chasing, so I'm at a loss as to what he's going to go with here.
No, there's 2 guys in the park who know it. In the dirt, not even close. Winters picks up the easiest RBI of his career.
Well, they went with the drop, and it was low right from the get-go. Never had a chance to be a strike. And that's some good patience by Zenon Winters.
Absolutely.
It's easy to get really jacked up on that play and go after a pitch in the dirt.
A lot of guys will swing out of their shoes, even though a lot of pitchers may not throw a strike. Here's Jeff Goolagong. Pitch is inside, just missed, hitting Goolagong's front elbow. And the veteran Goolagong is 0 for 9 this week.
Well, Jeff has been coming over here for many years. Just came into the World Tournament, however, and I don't know how much, if at all, he's been playing at home in Australia the last few months. Their season typically ends in March.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bases are loaded in the bottom of the first inning. Score is tied at 1, and you got to think, Blair, even if the Bombers can get out of this situation, they'd be happy with only surrendering the 1 run.
Would be a moral victory for sure, as Segura finally finds a sign that he likes.
Inside, gets away from Carmona. He can't find it. And coming in to score is Malarzouk. Ezekiel moves up to third and Winters to second.
I don't know whether they crossed him up, but Carmona looked like he was looking for something on the outside corner, and the pitch came way inside and just hit off the glove, and then unfortunately Carmona couldn't find it.
Another one, third straight inside to Goolagong.
Well, we talked about Jorge Segura getting a big opportunity here on the big show, center stage, and not quite up to it at the moment. Giving away a 1-0 lead that he got in the first and now has got his team in a hole.
3-1 pitch. Fouled away. Full count again. So the Gremlins have scored 2 runs here in the bottom half of the first inning. This game was 90 minutes delayed. There was an hour built into the schedule. So the Toronto Gators and Hill United Chiefs, I would think, Blair, would start somewhere around 7:30, 8 o'clock for their scheduled 7 o'clock start.
Yeah, in my mind it was always going to be close to an 8 o'clock start.
Goolagong will foul this off his foot. It's a full count on Jeff Goolagong. Blair Ezekiel at second. Zenon Winters, check that, Zenon Winters is at second. Blair Ezekiel is at third base. 2 walks and a hit by pitch this inning for Jorge Segura. Make that 3 walks and a hit batsman. Bases are loaded again for the New York Gremlins, and how long? And that may answer my question, as we're going to see a visit to the mound from Bob Piddock.
Well, he's gone out to the mound first. Not sure if he's planning to make a change or if he's planning to have a word with Paul Squires. The body language from Segura obviously suggests some disappointment in what's going on, but I'm not sure whether they think there's some calls that they should be getting as well.
Well, this looks like it's going to be more of a pep talk than a substitution. As you can see on the right side of your screen, Devin McCullough continues to throw. Just picked up the towel from the spotter, Marshall Cronk. So Segura will stay in the game and face the number 8 hitter, Brian Avery. Avery's a Western Canadian boy. Another pass ball. Ezekiel is going to score from third. The ball is loose. Now coming around to score is Winters. And the wheels have fallen off the A1 Bomber bus in the bottom of the first.
You have to wonder how much fatigue has to do with this as well. Freddie Carmona unable to get a full glove on that outside drop ball and fires the ball back at Jorge Segura.
So Jeff Goolagong goes all the way around to third. And disheartening, to say the least, would be the situation here for the A1 Bombers, and that's going to do it for Jorge Segura. A 1-0 count will be inherited by Devin McCullough, and as McCullough takes his warm-up pitches, we will take a quick break and be right back with you here on the ISC Network. The New York Gremlins lead 4-1.
Murphy's Fish and Chips is not only a great place to get some of the best seafood in Canada, but is also one of the best fastball sponsors in the game. Voted Nova Scotia's best fish and chips by Eastlink TV, Murphy's is a family institution since 1996 and a proud fastball sponsor of many Canadian and ISC championship teams. Open 7 days a week. Come join us for our famous English-style fish and chips or any of our daily specials. Murphy's is located at 88 Esplanade in Truro, Nova Scotia. We thank Dave T. Anderson and Murphy's Fish and Chips for their commitment to fastball and the broadcast program.
Welcome back. It is still the bottom of the first inning. The New York Gremlins have scored 4 runs on just 1 hit. Devin McCullough enters the game with 2 down. And will start off his game with a strike, 1-1 on Brian Avery. 2 outs, and the runner on third is Jeff Goolagong.
Well, we were talking off air, and we heard some comments that Devin McCullough wanted the ball for this game. He certainly got it now, but rather than starting fresh, he's inheriting a 3-run deficit, a runner on third, and his team looks so promising there in the top of the first inning for the Bombers. Not so good at the moment.
Rise ball out of the zone, 2-1. McCullough threw the game this morning versus Circle Tap and picked up the win. He's 2-0 in the tournament, a 1.21 ERA, surrendering 15 hits over 17 and 1/3 innings, piling up 33 strikeouts. Avery fouls this pitch off into the center of the 4 diamonds here in the back half of the facility. Another 4 diamonds here at Green Valley Sports Complex out towards the parking lot.
Yeah, it's a great facility here for these types of tournaments. They do get the girls Fastpitch softball in some of the years where the ISC is not here as a national or international championship.
Full count. Avery lifts it high into left field. Heading back is the shortstop Sens. Coming in is the left fielder Varela. And finally, the A1 Bombers are out of the inning. They saw 8 batters, 4 runs, and just 1 hit for the New York Gremlins. When we return, the A1 Bombers will try and dig out of this hole.
At Cooper Tire, we make tires for people, not just cars. Our brand promise is that Cooper Tires perform on the road so drivers can perform everywhere those roads take them, because life is a journey. From the everyday motorist to the most demanding high-performance off-road and motorsports enthusiasts, we have tires for you. Cooper Tire is proudly based in Findlay, Ohio, and we have manufacturing, sales and distribution, technical and design operations within our family of companies in more than a dozen countries around the world. Visit us online at coopertire.com to learn more. Cooper Tire, proud of where we've been, confident in where we're going. The annual Boys of Summer Tournament is held every July at Circle Tap Bar and Grill in Denmark, Wisconsin. We host some of the top teams in the game at one of the best venues in softball. The atmosphere of old-time Fastpitch with all of the amenities of a full-service bar and grill on the grounds can't be beat. Reduced-rate hotels about 10 minutes from the park are available in Green Bay. To bring your team to the annual Boys of Summer Tournament next July, contact Dean Kane at ct16@greenbaynet.com. Thanks to Circle Tap for their support of the broadcast program.
Leading off the top half of the second inning for the A1 Bombers, it'll be the second baseman, Tyler Daly. Scott Nehigh due up second. Mike Hoadley due up third. We ran into Tyler Dudley between games, Blair.
Yeah, we had a chat with him down by the ribeye sandwich station. And Tyler telling us that the quad, he actually heard it a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't just a fresh one, and hasn't had the opportunity to heal. He said just the competitive nature, he wants to be out there going full 100% all the time, and the body reminds him, he said, usually after the fact, that it's still not quite ready.
Dudley's had a very good tournament. He's hitting .267, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He was 1 for 3 in the game this morning, and that's just on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, very good defender out there, very quick, good hands.
Takes a drop ball high in the zone, 2-1.
Yeah, Roman Godoy seems to really have it going in here right now. It would be great if we had a radar gun out on Roman Godoy.
And this is drilled to center field and gone. A leadoff home run in the top of the second for Tyler Dudley, who flexes his muscles once again, his 3rd home run of the tournament.
Well, Dudley had a great ASA tournament a couple of weeks ago. He had a really good ISC tournament last year, made the all-world team, and doing it all here for the A1 Bombers. We talked about going to be tough to scratch a couple off of Roman Godoy, but that's certainly one way to go and do it, by lining something to straightaway center field.
Godoy had given up no earned runs to this point in the tournament, now 2 through the first 2 innings. And who's hotter than Scott Nehigh this week? He's batting .385, robbing home runs, and he hit a big home run earlier this morning. So now it's 4-2 with nobody out in the top of the second. And Nehigh gets plunked by Godoy. Threw it right at him.
Well, we'll see if there is any. Nehigh is pretty unhappy here. He is going right out after Godoy, who is backing away.
That would be a poor matchup for Mr. Godoy. Scott Nehigh is livid.
Well, here come a couple of the Gremlins off the bench, and Bob Neidick is trying to get things settled down. And some more of the A1 guys getting towards the field. Nehigh now getting into it with Goolagong. And it's Winters, actually, who isn't always calm of head.
Both Winters and Goolagong were heading in Scott Nehigh's direction. And you know what? Kirkpatrick is in the middle there now.
Kirkpatrick's still jawing a little bit over there with the A1 Bombers. And just looking at trying to see who's jawing. Jorge Segura actually came off the bench and was doing some jawing with a couple of the Gremlins as well. Nehigh is a big lad from Vancouver. We mistakenly located him out of the U.S. East Coast. He plays in the Vancouver League and done a great job here in his first ISC World Tournament.
And I don't know if Tyler Dudley did or said something when he hit the home run. I didn't see anything untoward, but the Gremlins taking exception, and Scott Nehigh was plunked by Ramon Godoy. Now, I don't know if there'll be a warnings given or what have you, but Nehigh is on first.
Well, he's on first and he's on fire too. He is still hot out there at first base.
So that'll bring in Mike Hoadley, who gets the bunt down. It's booted a little bit by Avery, who recovers nicely to get the out on the sack bunt by Mike Hoadley.
Hoadley sacrifices Nehigh second. 1 man on, 1 out. Brings up Mingo Varela.
So Mingo Varela, the left fielder, who is hitting the ball well today, 2 for 3 with a double. And he has a runner in scoring position with 1 out, and all of a sudden we've got ourselves a heightened intensity ball game.
Well, like I said, these two teams met a couple of weeks ago, and the Gremlins, quite frankly, embarrassed a tired Bombers team.
They're going to try for Nehigh at second. He'll get the left foot back in. That looked like a good pitch from Godoy. I'm not sure if it was called a strike or not. It was. Ramon Godoy on the mound. Goes right back to the same spot, same result, 0-2 count on Mingo Varela. Oh,
did he get the call?
I thought he put his arm up. Yes, 2 strikes it is. We have a couple of bars that we have to look through, so folks at home actually have a much better view than we do. That's high and outside. Varela won't chase. So the count is 1-2 on the left fielder, Varela. And he chases outside, strike 3. Not a great at-bat for Varela.
Well, he took 2 borderline, but that one was off the plate and chased after it.
Well, Gil Sands is the hottest hitter on the team, as a matter of fact. Batting in the 9 hole, has the best batting average at .417.
And been absolutely stellar at shortstop, too.
He's been a human vacuum. He pounds this to first, and Palazzo couldn't get the ball out of his glove. So call it an infield single for Gil Sands. And Sands' speed really forcing the matter on Matt Palazzo there.
Yeah, he was going to have him if he could get the ball out and backhand it to Maller-Zook, but just couldn't either get a grip on it or find the handle.
So that brings up Kris Walushka, who doubled and scored in the first inning. And he's got a runner on third in Scott Nehigh, who is still rubbing his right forearm over there.
And Walushka has been hitting the ball well his last couple of plate appearances between the last game and this first one here.
Drop ball in the inside part of the plate. Walushka nods his head in agreement with the strike call. This is a big batter in this game. 2 down. Runner Sands goes. He is safe at the plate. Out is Scott Nehigh as Flores shows the glove. And now they're going to argue that Flores blocked the plate. A lot of them are going to argue that Flores blocked the plate.
Well, it's they called him once for the obstruction call already. That's an aggressive play when you've just gotten yourself back into the ball game, but you're taking the bat out of the hands of your leadoff stick, who has been hitting the ball fairly well. I think A1 Bombers should have really just been content there with the stolen base.
I just watched the replay, Blair, here, as we have our YouTube stream up, which has a bit of delay on it. And the catcher, Flores, put his shoulder into knee high, stopping him from getting to the plate. So the A1 Bombers have an argument that they are going to lose. And folks, if you're watching at home, the YouTube stream has the ability for you to scrub back and rewind and then catch up with us live. So feel free to do that if you like. But the A1 Bombers are going to lose this argument. New York Gremlins coming up.
The law firm of Fireman Steinmetz-Daya built its reputation on getting fair compensation for victims of serious personal injury or catastrophic claims. With a combined 90 years of experience and a fierce dedication to achieving results, fireman lawyers have recovered millions of dollars every year for our clients. Whether you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, a slip and fall, or as a result of any other act of negligence, when we represent you, we're committed to getting the results you deserve. With the lawyers at Fireman Steinmetz-Daya, you are not alone. Contact us through firemanlawyers.com for a free consultation. No legal fees are billed until you receive your settlement. We thank Jack Fireman for his generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
For all your team uniform and equipment needs, fastball, slow pitch, and hockey, for players and teams, make sure you visit Corbett Source for Sports on the South Service Road in Oakville, Ontario. There's a lot of deals to be had on all kinds of equipment. Thank you to Paul Hurd and Corbett Source for Sports for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
We're going to write that one down as a 2-6-2 putout. Gil Sands will get a stolen base, but Scott Nehigh will not, as he is thrown out at the plate. Kris Walushka will lead off the third inning for the A1 Bombers. And Blair, you made a good point. That's a tough play, an aggressive play to put on when you've got one of your hotter hitters at the plate.
Well, you've already scored one in the inning, and now we got a bit of confrontation going on. Varm Matosian over at first base coaching for the Gremlins, pleading his case. I don't know if Varm was catching some grief from the Bombers bench and maybe giving it back. Wouldn't be the first time for Varm to do that.
Ball one from Devin McCullough, who came into the game after Jorge Segura was only able to get 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. 4 runs charged to Segura. Nick Mullins leading off here as McCullough misses well wide. And in the words of Mr. Bob Euchre, that was just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside. Hit the mascot, actually, I think. Little Nuke Lelouch action out there from Devin McCullough.
Yeah, Miss February. 2-0 is the count to Nick Mullins. McCullough grooves that one for a ball, and it's 3-0.
Well, this is why we get 2.5-hour ball games. When you got to throw the ball into a shoebox, the batters don't have to swing.
3-0 the count to Nick Mullins, the shortstop for the New York Gremlins. Strike one called, low in the zone. The score is 4-2 for the New York Gremlins, and we're only in the bottom of the second inning. Mullins rips this to left. Varela dives for it. It gets past him. Mullins is around to second. The throw is well offline from center field, but Mullins will stay there as Walushka came up to back up Varela.
Varela kind of came in and made a half-hearted sliding attempt. He was kind of caught in between. He realized he wasn't going to get it, but it kind of committed to it. It got all the way to the fence, as you said. Walushka did a good job of backing him up. Nick Mullins kind of turned a triple into a double there. He took it easy going into second, and then when the throw was errant, still never got off the bag.
A leadoff double for Mullins. Back to the top of the order for Matthew Waugh as the evening shadows start to creep across the third base side and home plate here at Milthand Field. Drop ball outside. Waugh will look at it for a ball. Matthew Waugh walked and scored to start the game, and he was in an 0-2 hole, battled back, and then got on base, and we could be looking at a completely different ball game if not for that leadoff at bat.
Kris Verlushka just ran 100 feet to his right to go get his sunglasses and put them back on his hat.
On his hat, not his eyes.
Yeah, well, they were on the ground after that play.
Rise ball that Waugh wanted to bunt, but it got on him a little too quickly and he bailed out. So now the A1 Bombers, who are facing a couple of issues stemming from the last inning in terms of frustration, have to screw their heads on straight because it's win or go home this evening.
Well, anything less than getting to Saturday will be a come down for the Bombers. Their goal was to be playing at 7 o'clock tomorrow night for that championship. They felt that they'd done enough over the last couple of years to get into that game. But right now, in a fight for their life on Friday.
2-1 pitch to the screen. And not running is Nick Mullins.
Well, I guess there are no Team Canada friends out there. Devin McCullough getting a pat on the back from Freddie Carmona, and he got a bit of a glare from Matthew Waugh. That was head high and had some, I don't know about intent, but certainly had some velocity.
Three and one count, nobody out. The leadoff batter, Mullins, is on second with a double. Matthew Waugh batting .417 with a home run and 3 RBIs. Change up in the dirt. Waugh heads down to first with his second walk, and the body language from the A1 Bombers and their pitcher Devin McCullough is very telling right now.
A lot of frustration out there for the team in the black and orange, and you can't play frustrated. It's very, very difficult to play frustrated. That's when you make mistakes and it compounds and it snowballs and it just gets worse and worse. You've got to find your composure. You've got to keep it out there. You've got to find that inner serenity.
Ladislao Malarzouk pops up the bunt attempt, and a diving try from Gil Sens as Kennedy was already committed, and new life for the New York Gremlins second baseman.
Well, that's kind of how things are going for both of these teams right now. You get a guy who is a very good bunter to pop one up, but you've got nobody who's in a position to go get it. As you said, Kennedy had committed on the charge, and Sens, even he couldn't run that one down.
One strike on Malarzouk. He calls time, and this gives me a chance to comment on your inner serenity speak. I didn't know you were a yogi.
I just hear tell about it.
It exists out there somewhere. Foul ball off in the direction of Diamond 8 as we play on Diamond 5, the main diamond at the Green Valley Sports Complex. As people continue to make their way in, anticipating the big undefeated game, I see Grant Patterson off to our right in the Hill United Chiefs. Patterson here as a pinch runner apparently this week, but more importantly here helping out the pitchers from the coaching side of things. Slap to the left side. Gil Sens diving stop back to second, double play. And Gil Sens continues his quest towards all-world shortstop.
Well, Nick Mullins, who we thought had turned a triple into a double, now gets doubled off. So the double-double in Tim Hortons speak for Nick Mullins.
Malarzouk is the first out, and Mullins is the second. So Blair Ezekiel comes up now with 2 down, and the runner on first, Matthew Waugh, and we'll keep an eye on him to see if he wants to test Freddie Carmona.
Well, what a difference maker Gil Sens is for the A1 Bombers. Instead of Blair Esical coming up with runners on the corners or maybe even the bases loaded, now he comes up with 2 out and just a runner on first. Big, big difference in situation.
Esical with a hard swing and now down 0-2. Waugh has had 2 hard faking charges off first base from the first 2 pitches. 0-2, they may send him.
Well, not a bad idea here to send one of your speed guys, and at worst you come back with 3, 4, 5 in the next inning.
Pitch is high, and McCullough might have been thinking the same thing. 1-2, and I just realized I had committed the cardinal sin of the Buck Martinez. Good time to start the runner, and he never goes. So I will take that one back if I can. 1-2 the count on Blair Esical. And he lifts this high to left field. It is back, and caught by Mingo Varela. So Esical is retired. The 3rd out, and somehow Devin McCullough works his way out of the jam. We'll go to the top of the 3rd, where it'll be the top of the order: Chris Walushka, Derek Kennedy, and Freddie Carmona.
First Nations Payment Systems strives to deliver innovative and secure solutions that benefit merchants everywhere. We can help you decrease your costs and increase your revenues. With more than 1 million merchant locations using the First Nations Payment Systems platform worldwide, you can't go wrong by making the switch. When you partner with First Nations Payments, your clients will benefit from our world-class payment experts, support staff, and cutting-edge technologies. To learn more about how First Nations Payments can help your organization, contact us through our website at firstnationspayments.ca. We thank First Nations Payments for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
Think about the greatest tournaments and championships played in fastball. Remember the players who have been at the highest pinnacle of our game, like Adam Folkard and Andrew Kirkpatrick. Gorilla Gold was there helping them win. What has been a closely guarded secret by the most prominent players is now available for you. We're ready to give you a hand to play at your best in all conditions. Visit us online at GorillaGold.com to order your Gorilla Gold products today.
Chris Walushka leading things off for the A1 Bombers. He was at the plate when Sand stole second and Nihai was gunned down coming home, and a great throw from Nick Mullins. Actually, I can't be sure if it was Mullins or Malarzouk who would have made that play, because it would have been Malarzouk's bag. I have to check the tape on that one as well. Walushka takes a drop ball inside, ball 1-1. Godoy now asking where the pitch was, and if I'm the New York Gremlins, I don't say a peep to the umpires here for the rest of this one, because the Bombers are already fired up and on their case. Another one inside, ball 2. 4-2 in the top of the 3rd inning. The New York Gremlins leading the A1 Bombers in a game that through 2 innings has seen, well, a little bit of everything. A home run, a batter getting stuck, the bench is clearing, walks, balls going everywhere, attempted steals of home. Who doesn't love this sport?
It does have everything going on, doesn't it? You just rhymed everything off, and I was like, yeah, we had that. So it's been one of those ball games already, and it is only the 3rd inning.
Not to mention the diving play by Gil Sands to start the double play in the last at-bat. So 2-2 the count to Walushka, the leadoff hitter here in the top of the 3rd, as you see umpire Paul Squires flashing the count. Drop ball outside. Godoy saying, you're not giving it to me inside, you're not giving it to me outside.
Well, something tells me that this we haven't seen it all yet, because I'm sure something else is going to happen in this game. I am quite confident the score will not remain 4-2. It's going to end something different than what we've got right now.
Chopper by Walushka, fair ball on the inside of the left field line. He's going to head for second. He is safe. with a double, his second of the night.
Well, the throw hopped coming in from left fielder Matthew Waugh. If he gets it there in the air, then they have him. But the hop took the tag by Maller Zook up into the air, and getting underneath it was Kris Walushka. But no thought of stopping as Matthew Waugh had to go a ways to go get that ball all the way from the box. He was rounding first and on his way to second right out of the box.
And I tell you what, Blair, not many other left fielders make that play even nearly as close as Waugh just did. Walushka just in under the tag as Waugh, who's a speedster himself, picked up the ball, threw it on a line. But Walushka's on second base. Derek Kennedy steps in, nobody out.
Well, and how big does that look now in light of that attempted steal of home two? Trying to force the play. Sometimes you just got to let it happen naturally.
And you know, we've been talking about this here all week, the little things in the game and game-changing moments. Time is now called by John Hand out at second base.
I think a ball came on the field from the other diamond. It did, out to Matthew Waugh.
Chris Abbott and Blair Setford with you here on the ISC Network. Top of the third inning, Derek Kennedy, the third baseman, is at bat for the A1 Bombers, and he takes ball one high from Roman Godoy, who's not fooling these A1 hitters at all.
Well, they've been able to rack up some hits off of him and some runs that nobody else was able to do over the course of the week.
Only 2 strikeouts to this point for Godoy. Ball is fouled off. A couple of teams warming up on the adjacent field.
Legends 50-plus tournament still ongoing in full battle cry for the 50 and over guys, and then over to our left is the under 21 crowd. So we're surrounded by all the tournaments going on here this week. The ISC 2 portion has been completed. Coutreau Professional Inspections taking home first place.
1-1 count to Kennedy. He squares to bunt, pulls back on a pretty buntable pitch, if I do say so. But just to finish the thought on CPI, they ran the table yesterday, winning 3 games coming through the losers bracket. So hats off to them, the first New York-based team to ever win the ISC 2 championship.
Just the 5th American team, ISC 2, coming on board in 2002.
Kennedy with a half-hearted swing. The ball gets down. He is out at first, and Walushka takes the opportunity to move down to third base.
Saw the confidence in the arm there. Rafa Flores had a good long look at Walushka before he turned and threw it to first base to complete the strikeout. But Walushka never retreated back to second base. He was already a couple steps off, and the way he runs, easily able to get over to third.
Well, yeah, he knew he was going as soon as Flores released the ball. And speaking of catchers, here comes Freddie Carmona. Drove in Walushka with a sac fly RBI back in the first, and he's in a similar situation right now. In fact, the exact same situation right now. Hard swing from Carmona. Strike one.
Well, last time it was a line drive out to Zenon Winters in right field that scored Walushka.
Carmona puts a charge into this one. It is back and gone. Freddie Carmona ties this game with one swing of the bat, and despite it all, the A1 Bombers are right back in it.
Well, again, this game continues to astound and amaze the A1 Bombers, ringing up Roman Godoy for a pair of home runs, 4 plated runs on the night. And this team is not going to go quietly. This game is going to be a slugfest.
Andrew Kirkpatrick is warming up, not down the left field line, inside the fence. There's a patch of grass.
I think he's coming in as Greg Leather making the slow walk out to the mound, takes the ball, the pat on the back, and that is it.
So Roman Godoy gives up 4 earned runs in 2 1/3, and much like his counterpart Jorge Segura, they are both done for the night. McCullough and Kirkpatrick now will go to battle in a game that is all square, and we are setting up for a beauty here at ISC World Tournament 2016.
Sometimes people worry about asking for help because there can be a stigma around mental health problems.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
They might believe that asking for help means admitting that something's wrong.
Trust your teammates. Trust your teammates.
Some people worry about how others might see them.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Asking for help means that you want to make changes and take the first steps towards better mental health.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
We should celebrate the courage it takes to speak up and make changes.
Trust your teammates. Trust your teammates.
Getting help is part of recovery.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Mental health isn't something you need to keep to yourself. Talk to a friend. Trust your teammates. You're not alone.
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
The first steps may be the toughest, but knowing where to look for help is a good start. Community mental health organizations like the Canadian Mental Health Association or Mental Health America offer resources and programs that can help you. Visit cmha.ca or mentalhealthamerica.net to find a branch in your community.
And remember,
Trust your teammates.
Trust your teammates.
Kris Abbott and Blair Setford back with you. Andrew Kirkpatrick taking over on the mound for the New York Gremlins. His first pitch goes back to the screen. It's ball one to his countrymate, Marshall Cronk. Strike on the outside corner. So Blair, you were right. We haven't seen the end of it here. Freddie Carmona with a big two-run home run, tying this game up in what looked like it had gotten away from the A1 Bombers. Now they have all the momentum. Kirkpatrick with a pitch that's high out of the zone.
Well, it's almost like they've tied this up in spite of themselves. They kind of almost tripping over themselves to get to this point. But, you know, a lot of this, as we were talking off air, is set up by the fact that if you're a batter, you don't really have to worry about chasing a ball to the corner. You can wait until Kirkpatrick or Godoy has to throw something down the middle of the plate because those calls aren't being made on the corners, and it really favors the batters in this type of situation.
3-1 pitch. Cronk will chop it to the backstop. Full count.
You know, we were taking odds on air, or off air rather, as to what the over-under would be on the final score. Somebody threw out 12. Somebody else threw out a total of 17. I'm not sure whether we're going to have to give half runs to take any line on that.
Well, I tell you, at 6:40 local time, I tell you two teams that don't want to see a 17-run game. That hits our camera square in the chops.
Yeah, our mount really took it on the chin there. It's flapping in the breeze, and we've got a bit of a tilt to it. We'll have to go out and see how everything is hanging together there. I thought I saw one of the pieces take a bit of a flight.
And then Cronk with a single to the left of Nick Mullins to keep the inning going for the A1 Bombers. I'll tell you what a camera that is. Just tilted a little bit, still got the great shot.
That's the hardest hit of the week. I mean, we've had that up there since Sunday morning, well, Sunday at 1 o'clock, I guess. And, boy, that was a shot. You ever wanted to know what a foul ball coming into your living room looked like? You just got it.
Tyler Dudley, who homered in his last at-bat, takes strike one from Kirkpatrick. Still only one out in the top of the third inning. Derek Kennedy striking out. Marshall Cronk reaching on a single, and he's at first base. Dudley with a chopper foul down the third base line.
Well, this is a good matchup for Tyler Dudley, the righty, as Andrew Kirkpatrick will be bringing that ball right into his wheelhouse with that little curve drop that he throws.
Dudley is down 0-2 in the count. Chases upstairs.
Wow. If you're going to chase the rise ball that's 3 feet over your head, you couldn't have hit that pitch with an oar.
Brings up the right fielder, number 41, Scott Nehi.
And where all the fireworks started was Scott Nehi's last at-bat. Ramon Godoy filled him in. What would have been one in the ribs except Scott Nehigh's got forearms like most people's legs, and he was able to get away from it. You see there the big guns on Nehigh.
Well, Kirkpatrick comes right inside after him, and these two were doing a bit of jawing in that whole kerfluffle back an inning ago too.
Drop ball inside corner for a strike, 1-1. Nehigh, doesn't quite agree. Quick conversation. But you can't say enough about Scott Nehigh's tournament here, Blair. He was hitting .385 coming into this game, and he's been excellent defensively in right field. Catches, throwing. Real nice addition to the ISC. Just his first ISC tournament, fitting right in. One pitch ties him up. Flores.
Well, the Vancouver native certainly swings hard. I don't know that that was the pitch that, that caught Flores.
Oh yeah, he's real.
He's not happy, but he's already got, looks like a couple of fingers taped together.
So maybe crossed up was Flores there, and I don't know if you've ever gotten in there behind the plate, but I can tell you if you get one of those balls biting down on your thumb, there is no pain like it.
No, it is excruciating without a doubt. I've spent a little bit of time behind the dish in my misspent youth.
1-2 is the count to Nehigh. Ooh, that was inside, tied him up again, but managed to get a piece with the bat and tilt our camera a little bit more. We're going to have to get tech support on the camera. Operations. 1-2 is the count to Scott Nehigh. Inside, ball 2. So Nehigh standing in there. They're working him inside, not letting him get those arms extended. Nehigh again staying alive against Kirkpatrick, fouling the ball back. This is our second last game of the day here on the ISC network. The undefeated game, the Hill United Chiefs and the Toronto Gators, coming up following this one. That'll be played, by the looks of things, 100% under the new lights here at the Green Valley Sports Complex. 2-2 pitch. Nehigh calls time. Mike Hoadley on deck. Should Nehigh reach? Ground ball to second, a sharp one. Malarzuk on to first. Out. Even though the Bombers thought he was there. The Gremlins get out of the inning. They give up 2 runs on the Freddie Carmona deep blast to left center. After 2.5, this wild one is tied at 4.
Why do you play? For 100 years since 1912, Worth has been helping top athletes answer that question. Whether it's for strikeouts or home runs, the Worth K-Master 120 is the best ball in men's fast-pitch softball, and there's nothing soft about it or you. Worth is proud to be the official ball supplier to the ISC. Visit worthsports.com for more information on Worth products, including the K-Master.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud Fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Matt Palazzo leading things off in the bottom of the 3rd for the New York Gremlins. Palazzo was a strikeout victim his first time around. That was against Jorge Segura. This is his first look at Devin McCullough, who instantly is complaining about the shoebox behind the plate. 4-4, bottom of the 3rd, the A1 Bombers and the New York Gremlins. McCullough looking to get Palazzo to chase. 2-0. Drop ball is called strike. As now the Shadows have made their way out towards second base and 60% of the way up the first base line. Great pitch from McCullough. Takes a little bit off, has a little bit of a curve on there. Strike two. Two count to Matt Palazzo. Chopper to first, foul. And we mentioned Blair the Palazzo from just up the road in Des Moines, Iowa. Said a lot of his friends that haven't had a chance to see him play at this level have been able to make the short drive over to Moline and take it all in. He said they're loving it.
Just about 90 miles up the road from what I am told. And it's good to see for Matt Palazzo basically playing as close to home as you're going to get.
2-2 count. Drop ball outside, 3-2 to Palazzo, who's the leadoff batter here in the third inning, but the cleanup hitter in the lineup. 4-4 is our score. The A1 Bombers got out to a 1-0 lead, then the Gremlins scored 4 straight, and Matt Palazzo turns on this offering. If it stays fair, it does, and it is out of here.
By a long distance.
Palazzo's second home run of this year's ISC tournament puts the New York Gremlins back in front in this seesaw affair. That brings up Rafael Flores, catcher.
And that's just how quick Missed Momentum will change horses on you. Seem to be fully in the A1 Bombers' favor, but one swing of the bat and back out in front go the New York Gremlins.
Flores, a line shot right into the glove of Kennedy, and it's a good thing because I don't think he saw it.
Well, there's 2 hard-hit balls in a row here in the third inning, and Zenon Winters will try to make it 3 in a row for the Gremlins, but that's got to be a little worrisome if you're the A1 Bombers coaching trust.
Well, the other arm for the Bombers is Rich Haldane, who hasn't thrown much this week.
He came on in mop-up duty in their win over the Toronto Batman. I think that was all the way back on Monday or Tuesday of this week.
And Haldane best known since then for getting in a shouting match with Jordan Graham. Here's another one lifted to right field. That's going to drop in front of Scott Knee-High. And Zenon Winters has his first hit of the night.
Flair singles for right, 1 out, 1 on,
Brings up Jeff Goolagong, still sporting the donut in the average column. And I'm sure he's going to love that I keep bringing that up. A hit here would get him up to the 100 mark.
Well, I think anything that would result in him getting on base would make Jeff Goolagong happy right now. As you said, everybody in the dugout knows what everybody else is doing, and he's trying hard to knock our camera off kilter, and succeeds in doing it a little bit.
Successfully, yeah. Bunt foul from Goolagong. Well, at least the people at home now have a real good idea of what it looks like down the right field line.
Yeah, we'll have to get out there to fix that one. I think we lost one of the legs off the bottom left side too.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Rise ball is out of the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike on the center fielder Jeff Goolagong, who walked and was stranded in the first. Goolagong drills this into left field, and there it is. He's off the schneid. Zenon Winters rounded second hard. Varela tried to get him who overthrew the second baseman, Dudley. But everything is fine. Goolagong on first with his first hit of the 2016 World Tournament. And Blair Setford alluded to it. That is 4 consecutive hard hit balls from Devin McCullough, who is not fooling anyone at all. And we're seeing some movement now in the A1 Bombers bench. And we'll see if Segura is going to get loose or if it'll be Haldane. Lots of shuffling around down there in the first base dugout. Marshall Cronk is about to pop his head out of there and go for his spotting duties, so we'll try and confirm who's going to get loose for the Bombers. Looks like Haldane. Actually, they're both going down there to throw. At the plate, Brian Avery, runners on first and second. Takes a drop ball for a strike. They get crossed up, it goes to the screen. Goolagong and Winters will move up to second and third respectively as McCullough and Carmona try to figure out what just happened there. And there's a good chance that with the runner on second, they were going through a series of signs to keep Winters from tipping off the pitch for Brian Avery, and they got mixed up in those signs. So 1 out, runners on second and third for Brian Avery. Avery flew out to Mingo Varela in his first at-bat. He'll call time. So both Jorge Segura and Rich Haldane are getting loose for the Bombers in the bullpen. Avery skies this. Varela sends, both heading over towards the fence. And I'm not sure, it looks like it landed foul. We have a really tough time seeing down the left field line here. There's some obstructions in real life and also obstructions on our monitor from the camera angle. So that did fall foul. The count is 1-2 on Brian Avery. Avery chops at the changeup. That'll score a run on the ground out. 6-4 Gators. Just a nubber off the end of the bat, but good enough for Brian Avery to pick up the RBI. Jeff Goolagong moves up to third on the play, and the shortstop Nick Mullins, who doubled in his first at-bat. 6-4 lead now for the New York Gremlins here in the bottom of the third inning. This one gets away from Carmona, and Goolagong comes in to score. So after erasing the deficit of the pass balls and the walks, the A1 Bombers have given it right back. It is now 7-4. Nick Mullins now, bases empty, 2 down. Yes, 2 down. Inside from McCullough. Two and 2 is the count on Mullins with 2 down in the bottom of the third. low for ball 3. Devin McCullough, who threw 7 innings earlier today, is definitely looking like his gas tank is on empty. And walks Mullins on a pitch in the dirt. And I think that's going to be it for Devin McCullough, as there will be a meeting on the mound and they'll have to decide whether to bring Segura back in to give it another shot or go to Rich Haldane.
If a man runs for president, interviews for a high-level job, or needs a good table at a smart restaurant, chances are he'll be wearing a suit. Mr. Ned is your custom tailor in New York City. Located at 137 Fifth Avenue, we provide our clients with the highest quality custom suits at affordable pricing. Our range of fabrics is second to none and will fit the needs of any well-dressed professional. Whether it be everyday business attire or a special occasion, we have the ability to make you a man of distinction. Visit the store at 137 Fifth Avenue in New York or see us online at MrNedNYC.com. We thank Mr. Ned and Varn Matosian for generously supporting the broadcast program.
Matthew Waugh comes up with 2 down and a runner on first in Nick Mullins. Waugh has walked in both of his plate appearances already today. Another one gets away from Carmona. And Mullins will go to second. So as tough as it has been on McCullough, Freddie Carmona also having a really tough time behind the plate for the A1 Bombers. And that win this morning over Circle Tap has taken the good out of this Bomber squad and most certainly out of the catcher, Freddie Carmona. 2-0 to Matthew Waugh. And we're going to change on the fly here in the broadcast booth. Blair Setford off to get ready for the Toronto Gators Hill United matchup. Lance Wynn jumps in after getting some, well, half a game off. I hope you're getting paid half a game extra.
Well, I'm getting paid the same amount. It's not a whole lot there, Kris, as you know. So, but a good ball game nonetheless.
2-0 count. The changeup is in for a strike on Matthew Waugh. Runner on second and 2 outs. A 7-4 lead the Gators have built back up. It was 1-0, then it was 4-1 for the Gators. Then the Bombers tied it at 4. Now the Gators have scored the last 3. I got Gators on the brain. The New York Gremlins, of course. Swing and a miss from Matthew Waugh.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about the Gators on the brain that you got there, Kris. I'll leave that one alone. But I'll tell you, you talk about a momentum shift here, and boy, these Gators have certainly flipped a coin. And just kidding there. So have the Gremlins. We'll see how the Gators fare after this ball game, but that's what good teams do.
Waugh lifts it high to center. Walushka camped under it. And mercifully, the bottom of the 3rd inning comes to an end for the New York Gremlins. The A1 Bombers, let's see if they've got another comeback in them or if this was the final blow. Top of the 4th coming up when we return.
Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
Mike Hoadley leads things off for the A1 Bombers. against Andrew Kirkpatrick, who took over for Roman Godoy in the third. And Kirkpatrick now feels like he's getting squeezed, and Paul Squires has drawn the ire of all 4 pitchers in this game.
Well, it's funny how once the games ramp up in importance that it seems that the chirping increases as well.
Hoadley had a pitch he wanted to hit that time, swung through the rise ball from Kirkpatrick. It's now 2-2.
Well, I think everyone's trying to get whatever advantage they can get. A good pitch from Andrew Kirkpatrick. You knew that when Hoadley chased that rise ball that he was going to get a second one, and sure enough, Kirkpatrick came back a little higher to record the out.
Well, Lance, there's plenty of guys around the game of Fastpitch, whether at the ISC level or not, that can't lay off that rise ball. Here comes Mingo Varela. He struck out his last time around on an outside pitch, and that is ball 1 on Varela. They're going to say it was a little bit high. Varela swings through for strike 1, and Kirkpatrick, the lefty, they've got that natural hook on the ball. Tough for left-handed batters like Mingo Varela. 1-1 count. Chopper towards third. That's foul. Brian Avery will retrieve the ball and get it back to the lanky lefty from Australia. One ball, 2 strikes, 1 down here in the top of the 4th inning in a game where we've already seen 11 runs scored. Varela down on strike, so Kirkpatrick is getting into a groove now after having a chance to settle into this game.
Good sequence from Andrew. Came up, came down first, and came with a couple of rise balls. Wasted one and then went right at him with a good hard drop over the inner part of the plate to record the strikeout.
They'll bring up Gil Sands, the shortstop. He is 1 for 1 with a single and a stolen base, and the first pitch to Sands is at his toes for ball 1. Right back up the middle, but it's off Kirkpatrick, who recovers to make the out, and a swift top of the 4th after a few long innings here in this A1 Bombers New York Gremlins game. Winner going on, loser going home, and right now the Gremlins lead 7-4, heading to the bottom of the 4th.
First Nations Payment Systems strives to deliver innovative and secure solutions that benefit merchants everywhere. We can help you decrease your costs and increase your revenues. With more than 1 million merchant locations using the First Nations Payment Systems platform worldwide, you can't go wrong by making the switch. When you partner with First Nations Payments, your clients will benefit from our world-class payment experts, support staff, and cutting-edge technologies. To learn more about how First Nations Payments can help your organization, contact us through our website at firstnationspayments.ca. We thank First Nations Payments for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
So the third pitcher of the game for the A1 Bombers, Rich Haldane, the BC native, has just a couple of innings work under his belt, and now he's brought into the elimination game for the A1 Bombers as both Jorge Segura and Devin McCullough are knocked out of this game by the New York Gremlins.
Well, Rich Haldane, of course, no stranger to international competition, part of the USA program for a number of years, made the jump now to the senior ranks, and he's been a force and slowly working his way up. He's got a good drop ball, good rise. Not so sure if he's developed an effective changeup, but he's a good hard throwing lad who, again, is familiar with some of these hitters, and he'll get his shot here on the big stage.
Leading off for the Gremlins is the number 2 batter, Ladislau Malarzouk. Blair Ezekiel behind him, and Matt Palazzo, who hit a towering home run in the 3rd inning, will be due up third here in the bottom of the 4th for the number 3 ranked team in the world, the New York Gremlins. So Malarzouk is 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the first inning and was out 6-4 on a diving play to start a double play by Gil Sands. This is hit towards Sands, but out of his reach. Second hit of the game for Ladislao Malarzouk.
Good piece of hitting, didn't do too much with it. Certainly didn't want a few pitches to take a look at Haldane. Just saw something off that he liked and punched that into center field for a base hit.
Brings up Blair Ezekiel, the designated player. Blair was hit by a pitch and scored in the first inning. He flew out to Mingo Varela to end the second. This is skied on the infield. Kennedy's going to call it. And there's one down for the Gremlins in the bottom of the fourth.
Not a bad pitch from Haldane as he came inside to Ezekiel and induced him to pop it up. So a big hitter erased.
Big hitter erased, and another one stepping in. Matt Palazzo hit his second home run of the tournament his last time up. This one is out to center. Walushka tracking to his right. Tagging from first is Malarzouk, and he will advance on the flyout by Matt Palazzo.
Good base running for Malarzouk. Realized that that ball was hit deep enough. Immediately went back to the bag, tagged up, and with good speed slid in safely to second base, putting a runner in scoring position now for Rafael Flores.
Flores steps in with 2 down in the bottom of the fourth. 7-4 the Gremlins lead. Last time up, Flores lined a ball to Kennedy at third base, who now you see is playing behind the bag, respecting that pull of Flores. Drop ball is going to be inside for a strike. Sands back on the perimeter of the grass, as is Dudley. Hard swing from Flores, strike 2.
Well, rarely does Flores swing softly. He's got good bat speed, and he never gets cheated.
So 2 down, and he's deep in a hole, 0-2 against Rich Haldane in his first inning of work. That is a ball, low. 1-2 count. Malarzouk led off the inning with a single, then Ezekiel popped up to third. Palazzo flew out to center field, which allowed Malarzouk to tag and move down to second base. That's inside on Flores. He had to dance away from it after shooting out those hips.
Good purpose pitch from Haldane. Need to create a little bit of room with Flores. He tends to crowd that plate just a bit.
So it'll be interesting to see if he goes inside or outside. He's been working Flores in. Outside and rung up from Rich Haldane, who works through the meat of the Gremlins order here in the bottom of the fourth and escapes unscathed. Move to the top of the fifth inning, and it'll be the top of the Bombers lineup. Kris Walushka, Derek Kennedy, and Freddie Carmona are due up.
Murphy's Fish and Chips is not only a great place to get some of the best seafood in Canada, but is also one of the best fastball sponsors in the game. Voted Nova Scotia's best fish and chips by Eastlink TV, Murphy's is a family institution since 1996 and a proud fastball sponsor of many Canadian and ISC championship teams. Open 7 days a week. Come join us for our famous English-style fish and chips or any of our daily specials. Murphy's is located at 88 Esplanade in Truro, Nova Scotia. We thank Dave T. Anderson and Murphy's Fish and Chips for their commitment to fastball and the broadcast program.
Top of the 5th inning, Kris Walushka, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored in this game for the A1 Bombers. He's been hot today. He was 1 for 3 in the morning game, so that'll make him 3 for 5 here on Friday at the World Tournament.
Well, it's money time right now, and his team's certainly going to need him to step up here, trailing by 3 runs.
Whew. Hefty swing, strike 1.
Good to see him aggressive at the plate, though. You figure you are trailing, and nothing better than to create some offense. You got to swing that bat.
Chopper down the third base side, foul, and as I get that word out, Avery makes the play anyhow. 0-2 count on Kris Walushka as he leads off the top of the 5th inning for the A1 Bombers, trailing 7-4.
Well, they haven't been able to get Walushka out yet in this ball game, so be interesting to see with Kirkpatrick on in the circle if he can't change that trend.
Kirkpatrick had a 1-2-3 fourth, 2 Ks, and a ground ball back to him. And in fact, since entering the game, he's only given up a single to Marshall Cronk. He's retired everybody since, including Kris Walushka, who chases a rise ball, strike 3.
And Andrew, a veteran pitcher, he's watching and assessing, and between him and what you get from a guy like Rafael Flores, these are experience. It's an experienced battery, and you chase something up, they're going to jump all over that.
Check swing from Kennedy. They will ask John Hand, who says no swing down at first base. And since entering the game, Lance Kirkpatrick has struck out 4 of the 6 outs he's gotten. High drop ball in for a strike. That one had some zip on it.
He's got some good movement, and he's got such an array of pitches that, and good command, you have no idea what's coming.
That looked to be right down the middle. It was for a strike. 1-2.
Well, that's the thing, and he's got Kennedy here just a tad bit off balance. He doesn't know what's going to come. I would suspect Andrew would go back to the rise ball out of the zone here up in the count.
Good job holding back by Kennedy. Didn't chase after that rise ball. Folks, if you're tuning in looking for the 7 p.m. game between the Toronto Gators and the Hill United Chiefs, that is coming up directly after the conclusion of this A1 Bombers New York Gremlins game. Lance Wynn on the play-by-play. I'll provide the color commentary. And we'll have a grand old time in the winner's bracket final. Derek Kennedy is down on strikes. 2 down.
Kirkpatrick continued to be dominant here and using all his pitches, got Kennedy on that rise ball. And like you said, that rise ball always looks so sweet when it leaves the pitcher's hand. Problem is, by the time it gets to you, it's usually around your eyes, and you've got no chance to hit it.
Freddie Carmona had a big 2-run home run in his last at-bat. Flores asking how come that wasn't a strike on the high drop like the last one was. Maybe a little high on Carmona. That's got to be a strike right in there from Kirkpatrick. And I think Lance, he's working with a little bit more intensity tonight. He got beat around a little bit by the Gators last night and was pulled early in that game.
I think you're right, and I think he's got a bit of something to prove here, and he's definitely doing that. It helps when you come in and you got a 3-run lead. Gives you a little bit of a cushion, got some leeway and a little room to play. And Andrew, certainly, like most pitchers, a lot more confident and more comfortable when they have a lead. As you see there, working the outside corner, striking out the side. Andrew Kirkpatrick looks awfully good.
Absolutely. 5 of the last 6 down on strikes, and the A1 Bombers will shake their heads and get back out to the field The New York Gremlins coming up in the bottom of the 5th inning. It will be Zenon winners Jeff Goolagong and Brian Avery when we come back.
Peligro Sports provides the essentials needed to give your team an edge on the field. Our brand is rooted in creating a unique experience tailored to the specific needs of your team to ensure your performance is at the best level to execute plays. At Peligro Sports, we rally behind our athletes and understand their fight to take their game to a dangerous level. Visit our store at 2200 Amsterdam Avenue in New York City or see us online at peligrosportsnyc.com. Thanks to Jose and Peligro Sports for their support of the broadcast program.
Zenon winners will lead off in the bottom of the 5th inning. He singled and scored last time around on a ground out by Brian Avery. Haldane is out for his 2nd inning of work, and it's ball 1 to Winters outside. Winters had an RBI walk in the wild 1st inning, and then, as I mentioned, singled and scored in the 3rd. We'll see what the 5th brings for the Aussie right fielder.
Well, a lot's happened in this ball game already, and we're in the 5th, as you recapped earlier. So these two teams are going to continue this Wild West shootout.
We had the benches clear earlier after Scott Nehigh was drilled following a Tyler Dudley home run. A leadoff walk for Zenon Winters, so he's reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate. So Goolagong comes up, and he got his first hit of the tournament in his last at-bat.
And that's surprising because Goolagong is such an offensive threat. He has been an all-world player for a number of years here at this tournament.
Haldane with a drop ball for strike 1. And Blair mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. I'm just not sure how much ball Jeff has played this year. But maybe just rounding into form, like you said, at money time. Swings through that, strike 2.
Well, I think a similar situation for Donnie Hale. I believe now he permanently lives in Japan now. So awfully tough for him to play against the competition you need to prepare yourself for a world event like this.
Straight down the baseline, Kennedy on to 2nd, safe at 1st, and a hard slide by Winters taking out Dudley. They give each other a pat on the back for a good hard play.
And it was a good play, good to get the lead runner and cut down Winters. Goolagong will remain on first base in the fielder's choice.
Brian Avery is 0 for 2 with an RBI ground out. Avery, who's played 3rd base for the Gremlins because Rafael Flores is the catcher. Avery is a world-class catcher of his own right.
And that's true, and that's the thing when you play on a loaded team like the Gremlins. Sometimes in order to fit in, you got to accept a different role, and Brian Avery has been more than willing to do that. A good team player, and sometimes you just have to do what's best for the ball club.
Well, I'm sure he'd much rather play 3rd base than be a backup catcher and be sitting on the bench. Runner goes, first pitch, Goolagong, and he is out at 2nd base. Looked a bit like he might have got under the tag, Lance.
Well, that might have been the sweetest no tag I have ever seen because I think that Tyler Dudley, I'm not sure if he even slapped the tag on Goolagong, let alone him sliding under it. But I think with the umpire blocked and behind the play as opposed to in front, and with the ball being there in plenty of time, you had to assume that the runner was out.
You are right on the money. The ball, the throw from Carmona was perfect, just flailing around out there, Dudley. But either way, 2 down now. Brian Avery at the plate in the bottom of the 5th. The New York Gremlins lead 7-4. Ooh, that's close to Avery. And just missed his front arm by inches.
Well, based on what happened earlier, things like that, a brushback pitch, are going to be magnified just a tad. Certainly don't want to repeat.
Avery swats that the other way, just through the pizza shack, it looked like out there.
Well, a good purpose pitch from Haldane as he came in with the brushback and then went to the outer half of the plate. And you have to certainly give Avery, of course, a veteran hitter, some credit. Stepped in and just got enough of it to keep his bat alive.
2-2, the count to the third baseman, Brian Avery, batting in the 8th spot of this New York Gremlins lineup. Rung up on the outside dipper. 3 up, 3 down for Rich Haldane, and he has been excellent since entering for the A1 Bombers. We'll move to the 6th. It'll be Marshall Cronk, Tyler Dudley, and Scott Nehigh for the Bombers.
At Cooper Tire, we make tires for people, not just cars. Our brand promise is that Cooper tires perform on the road so drivers can perform everywhere those roads take them, because life is a journey. From the everyday motorist to the most demanding high-performance off-road and motorsports enthusiasts, we have tires for you. Cooper Tire is proudly based in Findlay, Ohio, and we have manufacturing, sales and distribution, technical and design operations within our family of companies in more than a dozen countries around the world. Visit us online at coopertire.com to learn more. Cooper Tire, proud of where we've been, confident in where we're going.
Kris, Abbott, and Lance Wynn here with you in the top of the 6th inning. The A1 Bombers at the plate, and leading off this inning will be Marshall Cronk, who singled earlier. He's lifted this one deep to right center. It's gone. Marshall Cronk has made this a 7-5 game.
Boy, oh boy, first pitch swinging, and again, the A1 Bombers know they're trailing up there. Very aggressive at the plate, and Marshall Cronk got a first pitch that he liked and parked that to the deepest part of the ballpark.
That's Marshall Cronk's second 4-bagger of the tournament. And don't close the book on these A1 Bombers just yet. What a back and forth battle we've been in. Now Tyler Dudley, who's already homered once in this game, will come to the plate.
Well, when you talk about the warm temperatures here all day and the fact that the Bombers have already played a game, and even when you come out here, despite that fact, the Gremlins as well, you play in this heat. Fatigue definitely a factor, and that is evident when you go through more than just 2 pitchers. And what you're looking at here is, like Blair Setford said earlier, that chances are this is going to be a high-scoring affair rather than a lower-scoring affair.
Kirkpatrick has poured in 2 strikes on Dudley. It's 0-2. Dudley to short. That one eats up Mullins, skips to the outfield. Dudley's got his eyes on second, and he's already got a bad quad, and he limps in with the head-first dive. And if you're a teammate, you've got to love that work ethic.
Certainly did. You could tell he was really laboring, but man, he's not too bad. The wheels are good even with one blown tire, so give Dudley some credit there. And unfortunately, Nick Mullins, if you don't move in and charge that ball a couple of steps, you got to get it before that last hop, because that hop ate him up. And instead of a routine ground out, it's a double.
6th inning here. Dudley clearly under distress, and he has not been run for yet in the game. It doesn't look like they're going to run for him now.
Well, that's surprising, considering it is the 6th inning. You're down 2 runs. Nobody out, and you have a runner in scoring position in Dudley.
Scott Nehigh was swinging for the tie game on the first pitch. He's going to take a minute to collect himself.
Be interesting to see if there is a single, if there's a play at the plate. If that not having a pinch runner doesn't come into play.
Well, they've already dipped into their bench a little bit, but Al Martin, who ran earlier today, is available. Josh Holden's available. So I'm not sure what's keeping them from using those guys. 2 strikes now on Scott Nehigh. Mike Hoadley is on deck. He's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt. Rise ball that gets Flores up out of the crouch.
Well, if you're going to waste one, that's a good place to do it. And luckily, Flores knew it was coming.
Knee-high, chopper to the right side, grabbed by Palazzo. That will move Dudley down to third. And 1 out, runner on third, Mike Hoadley will come to the plate.
Well, that's a big run at third base now. You're talking about if these A1 Bombers can cash that run, it's just a 1-run ball game, and you certainly put the pressure now back on the Gremlins. Andrew Kirkpatrick wants to get this batter here and retire the side and come away unscathed.
Hoadley again shows bunt, and with a guy with a bum wheel on third base, that's questionable. 1 strike to the first baseman. Two strikes to the first baseman, a drop ball at the knees.
Big here if Kirkpatrick can pick up a strikeout. That's exactly what he needs.
Mingo Varela has struck out twice. He is the batter on deck.
Interesting to see the middle of the infield drawn in. They're looking to cut that run right off.
Hoadley, real lucky there. That might have been a little bit outside. He didn't even flinch. Looking for something else. Flores with the snow cone to keep the ball from getting to the screen. That's athleticism.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is about this metal screen, unlike the diamonds that surround, this hasn't been renovated yet, and you got those metal fence with the metal poles, and you don't know where the carom's going to go. Sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's not.
Run up, drop ball on the outside half of the plate. Mike Hoadley down looking for the second out here in the top of the 6th inning.
Big strikeout for Andrew Kirkpatrick. Good sequence there. And sometimes when you air a couple, you take out the mascot and come back, and the batter thinks that you're having some control issues, and then you paint the corner like Kirkpatrick. That's what veterans do.
So a runner on third for Mingo Varela. Takes ball 1 high and outside. Gil Sands waits on deck, hoping for an opportunity. Varela skies this to left field. It doesn't get any more automatic than Matthew Waugh, and that's 3 down for the Bombers here in the 6th. Well, they threatened, but they came up empty. 3 outs remaining for the Bombers. They trail 7-5 heading to the bottom. New York Gremlins coming to bat.
For all your team uniform and equipment needs, fastball, slow pitch, and hockey, for players and teams, make sure you visit Corbett's Source for Sports on the South Service Road in Oakville, Ontario. There's a lot of deals to be had on all kinds of equipment. Thank you to Paul Hurd and Corbett's Source for Sports for their generous sponsorship of the broadcast program.
The annual Boys of Summer Tournament is held every July at Circle Tap Bar and Grill in Denmark, Wisconsin. We host some of the top teams in the game at one of the best venues in softball. The atmosphere of old-time Fastpitch with all of the amenities of a full-service bar and grill on the grounds can't be beat. Reduced rate hotels about 10 minutes from the park are available in Green Bay. To bring your team to the annual Boys of Summer Tournament next July, contact Dean Kane at ct16@greenbaynet.com. Thanks to Circle Tap, for their support of the broadcast program.
Rich Haldane out for his third inning of work, and he's been very good for the A1 Bombers and have allowed them to climb back to within 2. He'll face Nick Mullins and then back to the top of the order for Matthew Waugh. It's a drop ball for a strike. Haldane. Folks, if you're tuned in looking for the Toronto Gators and the Hill United Chiefs, that game will start around 15 or 20 minutes from the conclusion of this one, which is now in the bottom of the 6th inning. A 1-ball, 1-strike count to Nick Mullins. And buckle your seatbelts for the pitching matchup. It'll be Sean Cleary for the Gators against Adam Fulkard for the Hill United Chiefs. So we know strikeouts will be on the menu, that's for sure. Mullins lays down a bunt. Kennedy across the infield and safe. Mullins will beat it out, so it's an infield single for the shortstop, Nick Mullins.
Beautiful bunt by Mullins, as you can see. Put that right beside between Haldane, in front of the shortstop, beside the third baseman, and despite barehanding that, Kennedy not able to get it over in time. Good speed from Nick Mullins hustling down.
So Dan Loney is going to run for Mullins at first base.
And you can see with putting Loney in, Loney with good speed and experienced base runner, experienced all-around ball player, really. And when you look at that, you have to figure that the Gremlins are thinking insurance run here.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a big run. Getting 2 off Kirkpatrick, yeah, maybe with a bloop and a blast. 3 is a taller order, that's for sure. But the Bombers are back to the top, 9-1-2 in the top of the 7th, so don't go anywhere just yet. Dan Loney from Cornwall, Ontario, pinch running at first base. Matthew Waugh from Quebec at the plate.
Matty Waugh didn't have his best ball game last night, but he's certainly been a force here today.
Loney with a big lead. Drop ball in for a strike on Waugh, 1-1. Foul ball on the bunt attempt from Waugh. He kind of gives himself a tap on the head, realizing that wasn't the best pitch to go after.
No, and there's a difference between bunting for a base hit and bunting to sacrifice, and Matty Waugh should be laying it down to sacrifice as opposed to trying to get a good jump out of the batter's box and earning himself a base hit.
1-2 count to the left fielder, Matty Waugh. 0 for 1, 2 walks and a fly out. Good eye on the outside part of the plate. Waugh really knows where the strike zone is, Lance. He doesn't go outside of it.
Usually a very disciplined hitter. That's what makes him such a tough out. Forget the fact that he can hit the ball and he can run like the wind, but the fact that he's very selective makes a big difference.
He lifts it high and deep to right. Scott Nehigh will go to his right. Loney fakes the tag. Nehigh with a beautiful throw in. 1 down.
And that's why that was a fake from Loney, because that was a good gun out there. And he would have been DOA without a doubt.
So Ladislau Malarzouk, the second baseman, with 2 singles on the night and was robbed of a third by Gil Sands. So Malarzouk's been right on the ball here in this game. Inside, ball 1 on Malarzouk.
That was pretty close, that's for sure. That was definitely a brushback pitch there. But Malarzouk hovers over that plate, so understandable why pitchers want to reclaim that corner.
Up out of the zone, 2-0 to Malheur-Zook. Blair Ezekiel, the designated player, waits on deck just beyond your screen on the left. Malheur-Zook calls time. Got to fix the hair, give the head a scratch, and jump back in. Drop ball for a strike. Haldane hits his spot there, 2-1.
Malheur-Zook just drops his shoulders like that pitch was way inside, but if you watch him on your screen how close he actually is to that plate, you will see that inside corner is tight to him.
Tries to lay down a bunt, fouls it to the screen. And you never want to bunt with your bat at a 45-degree angle like that.
No, and I think it was pretty evident that Malheur-Zook is not a big fan of laying it down here, and that was a bit of a half-hearted attempt.
2-2 to Ladislao Malheur-Zook. Just outside from Rich Haldane. Full count, 1 out. Dan Loney running at first for Nick Mullins, who reached via an infield hit. Perfectly placed bunt. Loney goes on the pitch. That gives Sands only 1 play. Malheur-Zook at first, 2 down.
So that worked out very well. Good job of sending that runner. Keeping out of the double play and no chance to actually cut down the lead runner there. They had to go to first, their only play, and now with 2 away, you still got a runner in scoring position.
For Blair Ezekiel, who is no stranger to driving in runs, batting .300 on the tournament, 1 home run and 3 RBI.
Well, I think these Gremlins will be looking for a little bit more from Blair offensively as they try to earn their ticket to Championship Saturday. A good time here for Blair to come through with a clutch hit and provide an insurance run for these Gremlins.
He lifts this high to center field. Walushka's going back, jumps the fence, but so does the ball. 2-run shot for Blair Ezekiel.
Just what the doctor ordered, and that's what world-class ball players do. They rise to the occasion, and that's exactly what Blair Ezekiel did. That home run to straightaway center, and instead of 1 insurance run, now they've got 4.
It is 9-5. Dolly Parton here at the 2016 ISC World Tournament. So Matt Palazzo steps in with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. And isn't that just like Blair Ezekiel to come up in a big situation?
It sure is, and like I said, it doesn't matter what he's done up to that point, that he's a threat every time he steps into that batter's box, and doesn't matter if he hasn't had a hit in the entire tournament, he's a threat to go deep, and that's exactly what he did.
Ball 1 low to Matt Palazzo, and ball 2 is going to be outside.
I think maybe Rich Haldane dropped his guard just a wee bit, and boy, did Ezekiel make him pay.
And so does Palazzo, back to back. This one is out into the parking lot, rolls up off the bottom of the barn, and the Des Moines, Iowa native putting on a show for the local fans.
Well, he certainly got something that he liked and jumped all over it. And if you thought Ezekiel's ball was hit hard and deep, well, Palazzo just matched that and some. And you got to feel for Rich Haldane. These Gremlin bats have come to life here in the 6th, and they're looking to put this one away.
Single by Mullins, getting everything going, and back-to-back home runs from Blair Ezekiel and Matt Palazzo. That's Palazzo's second home run of the game and third of the tournament. 10-5 now for the Gremlins. Flores was trying to make it 3.
Well, Flores didn't want to get left out of the party, that's for sure, because that was a pretty healthy hack he took.
Lance, the winner of this game goes on to play the BC A's at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. BC eliminating the Scarborough Force in the 2 p.m. game this afternoon. Don't know if you want to call it an upset, but with the run Scarborough had been on this summer, they were looking to get a lot further than they did.
Well, I think you call that an upset. I don't think you call it a monumental upset, but it's certainly an upset for sure, as the Force in the top 4 ranked teams all season.
Flores to third, Kennedy quick hands on to first, and the A1 Bombers have 3 outs to work with. They need 5 runs, and the big lefty from Australia, Andrew Kirkpatrick, likely to have something to say about that. Top of the 7th when we come back.
Whatever your delivery requirements are across North America, Skelton Truck Lines provides you with reliable, safe, and high-quality service at a fair price. Skelton Truck Lines equipment is satellite tracked and delivers small parcel, less than truckload, and expedited shipments throughout Canada and the U.S. With over 50 years of experience and more than 50 trucks serving 4 divisions, Skelton Truck Lines is a thriving Ontario business and a proud Fastball sponsor. Visit us online at skeltontruck.com. Thanks to Mike Skelton for supporting the broadcast program.
Free means different things to different people. Free is the laughter we share together. Free are the tears of joy on that special day. Free is the ability to express yourself. Free is the air dancing around your fingers. Free feels good, and so does saving. At First Ontario Credit Union, our members always get free checking, free ATM use, free debit, free deposits, free e-statements, and new members get a free gift. Visit freeisgood.ca and get money doing better for you at First Ontario Credit Union.
Andrew Kirkpatrick back on the mound for the New York Gremlins in the top of the 7th inning. The A1 Bombers will send Gil Sands to the plate. Kris Walushka and Derek Kennedy due up 2nd and 3rd respectively. So here's how it works, Lance. The winner of this game moves on to play the BC A's. The winner of that game plays the loser of our next game. And then the winner of that game will play the winner of our next game. So what I'm saying is it's in the Gators and the Hill United Chiefs' best interest to win tonight.
Well, you're absolutely right. When you all is said and done, I believe you're looking at the final, I guess, 4 teams that will show up here tomorrow for vying for the right to be crowned champion. And you figure whoever wins the next ball game is sitting pretty good with just 1 game to play tomorrow.
Well, the biggest thing is obviously in this sport, as most people know, is the strength of the pitchers. And every inning that you can save for your big guns is a big one.
You are right about that, Kris, and I think especially when you take the heat into consideration and that throughout the week, you figure the fresher your thrower is, the better off your team will be. And if you can rest a full card or you can rest a Cleary, that's the way to do it.
Gil Sands grounds out to the second baseman Malarzuk. 1 away in the Bombers' half of the 7th inning. Back to the top for Kris Walushka, who is 2 for 3 with a couple of doubles.
Well, Andrew Kirkpatrick is a veteran and he knows how to close games, and that's something that's very important. And you'll see here as he goes to work that he's very deliberate, particularly in this last inning. Each and every pitch is thought through, and we'll see here if he's able to put it together and close the door on the A1 Bombers.
First pitch to Kris Walushka, who spells his name the right way, was fouled off down the right side. This one is in play on the right side. Zen and Winters camped under it, 2 down. That'll bring up Derek Kennedy, the third baseman. And he is 0 for 3 with a couple of Ks and a ground out to the first baseman, Matt Palazzo.
Well, with the exception of that home run from Marshall Cronk to lead off the sixth inning, Kirkpatrick's been pretty much untouchable, racking up at least 5 Ks, 6 strikeouts, and a few innings of work.
First pitch is deemed a ball. Off the plate, outside pitch to the third baseman, Kennedy. This is lifted high into right field. Zen and Winters got it, and that will do it for the A1 Bombers. They showed some flashes and they showed some fight, but ultimately the number 3 ranked team, the New York Gremlins, will eliminate the A1 Bombers and move on to tomorrow morning to play the BCAs.
So a very impressive win for the Gremlins, who, of course, got the lead, lost the lead, and then managed to pick it up again, having themselves a very big 6th inning. So a good job. They punched their ticket, and they will go tomorrow 11 o'clock against the BCAs.
Andrew Kirkpatrick picks up the win in relief. Devin McCullough will be saddled with the loss. Coming up in about 15 or 20 minutes time, don't go anywhere, it'll be the Toronto Gators and the Hill United Chiefs in the winners bracket final.